And I want to thank everyone who was in the live stream and who commented. There's like over 300 some odd comments just after the video.
Conspiracy theorists think something is going to happen on the 24th, and I think we should actually probably get into that. So if you see a lot of conspiracy theorists as of late talking about the 24th, let's get into why. QAnon thinks something big is coming because of a Simpsons episode. A conspiracy theory that, quote, something big is about to happen on Saturday, September 24th has taken hold among QAnon supporters around the world, in part thanks to an episode of The Simpsons. The conspiracy first emerged in German QAnon channels on Telegram earlier this month, when followers began spreading a video that showed German lawmaker Friedrich Merz speaking to the Bundestag about the Russian invasion of Ukraine in February. In his speech, Merz misspeaks and says that everyone will remember where they were on September 24th rather than February 24th, the day Russia invaded. Merz corrected himself in the official record of the Bundestag, but QAnon followers in Germany believed they'd spotted Merz revealing a detail of a secret plan. That's how a lot of the QAnon people think, by the way, like it's a movie plot and the villain accidentally says their plan in a big speech on the floor of the legislature. Weird. Without any extra information, however, QAnon followers were at a loss about what exactly was going to happen on the date in question. Soon, some of the intrepid researchers came up with a theory based on a single episode of The Simpsons. One member of a German Telegram channel pointed out that in episode 9 of season 24, 9/24, September 24th, of the animated sitcom, the plot revolves around a group of preppers. In particular, the characters discusses WROL, or without rule of law, which is doomsday prepper lingo for the complete breakdown of society after a major catastrophe. It's a good thing it wasn't the Stone Cutters episode, probably. The episode also features an electromagnetic pulse device, which QAnon followers believe will usher in the 10 Days of Darkness, and ultimately the return of former President Donald Trump to the Oval Office. This recurring theme of the 10 Days of Darkness is a common trope of QAnon conspiracy theories. I believe it was mentioned in a Q drop a long time ago, and they keep expecting there to be this 10 days of darkness where communications and electricity and everything are just completely shut off. Meanwhile, the day of the rope is happening outside, basically. If you don't know what the day of the rope is, give that a Google and be depressed. The Simpsons has a long history of somehow accurately predicting the future, including Trump becoming president, but claiming that the show's creators predict the end of the world the day and secretly signaled this prediction by using a specific episode in a specific season is taking things to a whole new level. Despite the far-fetched nature of the conspiracy, or maybe because the claims about September 24th spread outside of German QAnon, eventually making their way to the US. The claim has been spread by major QAnon accounts on Telegram, YouTube, and Trump's own platform, Truth Social. One of those sharing the claim was Wano Savin, a QAnon influencer whose real name is Wayne Williott, who has a deep connection to the far-right GOP candidates running for Secretary of State positions in November's midterms. To back up their wild speculation, followers flagged other coincidences about the day, such as the fact that September 24th on the Gregorian calendar converts to September 11th on the Julian calendar. 9/11 out of nowhere on the bingo card. Others pointed out that it is the beginning of Rosh Hashanah, the Jewish New Year, though like many of the claims, this is inaccurate as the holiday begins this year on the evening of September 25th. Overt anti-Semitism on the bingo card? We'll call that overt. I think we all get where they're going with that one. See you, Miss Hire. Everything from a nuclear Armageddon to a financial reset to widespread water poisoning and an armed revolution has been predicted by those spinning these conspiracies to their followers. Last weekend, one of the speakers at the conspiracy-filled Reawaken America conference series, where Trump's two adult sons have spoken in the past, told the audience that the day of vengeance was a week away before adding, "We're going to watch it happen." Again, sounds mysteriously like the day of the rope. The Turner Diaries. Google it. Mr. Whiskers, thanks for Googling. Thanks for gifting a sub. The belief that something is coming has become increasingly prevalent in QAnon circles in recent weeks and months, as believers lament Trump remaining out of office and President Joe Biden occupying the White House. Not sure if something will happen on the 24th, but something is coming. I can feel it, one member of the QAnon-focused Great Awakening Forum wrote this week, sharing a feeling held by many within the movement. Supporters are increasingly convinced their predictions will soon come true. Buoyed by Trump's seeming support of QAnon and recent events, they cite as evidence of something happening, like the FBI's search of Mar-a-Lago and Queen Elizabeth's death. But the building frustration has fueled violence. Many in the QAnon scene are frustrated that the secret plan they so desired has not yet been seen in reality. Joseph Hollenberger, co-director of CMAS, a think tank specializing in conspiracy ideology and right-wing extremism, told Vice News. Does someone want to give me a job on that think tank? Because I'm on board. I won't even wear the tinfoil if you don't want me to, or I will exclusively wear the tinfoil if that's what you want. I'm really kind of just open for whatever. In the US alone, there have been a noticeable uptick in violent activity linked to QAnon conspiracies in recent weeks. Last week, a man in Michigan shot and killed his wife, and shot and injured his daughters after being radicalized by QAnon conspiracies. In Pennsylvania, an armed man who had shared QAnon videos on Facebook entered a Dairy Queen shop and threatened to, quote, "kill all Democrats." Some individuals are therefore taking the plan into their own hands and threatening those they identify as enemies with death, said Holdenberger. Heydrich. So this is known in Doomsday Cults as, quote, forcing the end. When you're in a Doomsday Cult, particularly one that keeps shifting the goalposts time and time and time again, because of course the apocalypse doesn't come, at least it never has, there's this forcing the end narrative that happens. You saw this with the Haley Bob Comet group. I forget exactly what they were called, but the ones where they were all wearing the same tennis shoes and they all committed suicide because they thought they were going to go into space on this comet, or they thought there was like an alien spaceship hiding behind the comet, and then the day that happened, they all committed suicide, right? Kind of forcing the end. You could argue to some extent Jonestown is a little bit of that. Of course, there was forcing people to do it, but you could argue that the leader was forcing the end in that cult. So in QAnon, because there is this doomsday aspect of the storm or whatever, day of the rope, whatever you want to call it, if people get frustrated enough that the goalposts keep shifting, it's not a big leap for them to go, well, maybe we were the ones who were supposed to do the storm all along. And then you have lone wolves or groups of people stepping up to commit violence and terrorist action, stuff like that. And we're seeing that trickle in more and more right-wing MAGA terrorist stuff recently. The guy who went to the FBI and tried to shoot them up, and he got killed instead. Stuff like that's going to continue to happen, I would guess, for a while. It's really unfortunate. Tucker White says, yes, I'm sure a bunch of liberal and leftist writers in the goddamn 90s made a secret coded message that then real estate mogul Donald Trump would retake the presidency 30 years later. I swear someone slipped some acid into my Powerade. This is the only way any of this can make sense. Yeah, it's scary. It's scary to know that many people just believe absolute horse shit. Crazy stuff.